conditional statement is a special type of command used to control the flow of execution in a computer program. As the name suggests, a conditional statement will determine whether or not a command or set of commands should be executed based on certain conditions. Our computer will check whether these conditions are met while it's executing our program. As part of our conditional statement, we're going to use a Boolean expression. If the result of the Boolean expression is true, then we'll execute those commands. If the Boolean expression is false, then we're going to skip over those commands and do something else. To declare our conditional statement, we're going to use the keyword if. If the statement is true, then we'll execute the commands. If the statement is false, then we'll do something else. The concept of a conditional statement is found in lots of different things with audio. Consider a dynamic range compressor. Compressor will take in an input signal and analyze the amplitude. If the amplitude is above a threshold, then it will compress or reduce the amplitude of the incoming signal. However, if the input amplitude is less than the threshold, then it won't do anything. So let's take a look at how we can write our own conditional statements so we can use them for audio applications. Here I'm going to demonstrate how to include conditional statements within a MATLAB script. In my first example, I'm going to create some arbitrary variables so we can follow the order of execution within the script. First, I'll assign the value of 5 to the variable a. Then, I'll declare my conditional statement using the keyword if. Here, we need to have a logical. It's either going to be true or false. To begin with, I will hard code the value of true. Then, within this conditional, we can have other commands, like b gets assigned the value of 1. Then we need to close off this conditional statement using the keyword end to say, these are the commands that are included as part of that conditional statement. Then we can go on and have other commands in our program. C gets assigned the value of 3. Now when I run this script, we can look at which commands get executed down here in the command window. So in this case, we start out, 5 gets assigned to A, then we go to the conditional statement, and this command actually gets executed. 1 gets assigned to B, and 3 gets assigned to C. Let's look at the other case, when this isn't true, but it's false. So now when I run this script, 5 gets assigned to A, but then our computer skips over the commands that are underneath this conditional statement because this is false. So it actually will jump from line 8 down to line 12, skipping over things in between. And then we assign 3 to the variable C. Besides just using false, we could include 0. And that would perform the same thing. Or also 1. So this would be the condition when it's true. This makes it possible for us to have Boolean expressions with logical operations, whether things are true or false, using the equal sign, or greater than, or less than. So let's look at a second example. I'm going to start out with another variable. How about t? And it has the value of 2. Then we'll have a conditional statement to check whether t is equal to 2. And if that's true, let's have s get the value of 3. And close off that conditional statement. And in this case, you can see that this command does get executed. However, if we test another case, when t is equal to 1, we can have another variable r. When I run this script, this command of r equals 3, or gets assigned 3, never actually occurs. We could also have the conditions and test whether t is greater than 1, have some variable q get assigned, and then You can test whether t is less than 1 and have another variable, p, get assigned 3. So here, it is true that t is greater than 1. So we're going to end up with q is equal to 3. And it's false that t is less than 1. So p gets assigned 3, never actually occurs. Let me demonstrate a third example then, where we'll use the keyword if, as well as the keywords else if and else. So let's have some number here with the value of -1. Let's check whether this number is greater than 0. We can have a variable here, greater than 0 is true. Or we can jump down here to else. We could have greater than 0 is equal to false. So the way this will work is we will first check whether this condition of this number greater than 0, if that's true, we'll execute this command. If it's false, then we will always jump down here and execute the commands underneath the else statement. Important thing to point out is the else statement does not require another Boolean expression. It's implicit that if this one is false, then we're always just going to do what's down below. So I'll execute this command and see that this is false. If this were a value of 1, it would switch and we'd have a value of true. Next, I'll demonstrate using if, else if, which requires another Boolean expression, along with else. So here, let's have another number. Number is equal to 0. Here we'll check. Is our number greater than 0? If that's the case, greater than 0 is equal to true. We could have another check, else if, and this is where we need to have another Boolean expression that has a logical output. We'll see whether our number is less than 0. Less than 0 is equal to true. And finally, I have else, where we say 0 is equal to true. So just to clean things up, we'll just have this within our script. We can watch what ends up happening. I'm going to set a breakpoint so we can see how our program steps through and checks these different conditions. So first, we'll assign the value of 0 to our number variable. Then we'll check, is number greater than 0? That's false. We jump down below to line 10 in our order of execution. We check this one. It is also false. So now we jump down to else, and we're going to assign the variable here. So now we're inside of the else statement on line 13, and we create this new variable. Let me switch this to a value of 1, and we can see what happens. We'll run the script. This statement is going to be true. 1 is greater than 0. So now we'll have a new variable greater than 0. And then we'll jump down all the way to the end and skip over everything else. Finally, we'll have a value of -1 for our number that's used as part of the conditional statement. And this time, when we execute it, we'll step and we'll jump over this command underneath the if statement. We'll jump down and we'll check whether this is true. So we're going to have number less than 0. That's true. So we'll go into this line on 11, and we'll execute this command. And then we're done. We're going to jump over else to the end and continue on with the rest of our program. A few things to mention. Every conditional statement must start with an if statement. If statement can be used by itself. You don't have to use else if statements or else statements. If you're going to use an else if, you must have an if statement first. So a few things about just working with conditional statements. So now I've demonstrated how we can use these conditional statements to make decisions, to answer questions as part of our computer program.